Hello students, this is Prathamesh Tupare, your physics teacher. In our previous class, we studied something called as Coulomb's law of electric force. I explained you the statement, I explained you the formula, I explained you all the constants related, I explained you all the units which are related here, and at the end we defined what is 1 coulomb, if you remember, right? In this class, we are going to study this Coulomb's law in the vector form. So you have to be very careful here, okay? You have to understand this very nicely. So let us consider. Okay, so let's go for this topic, that is Coulomb's law in vector form. Alright, so now let us consider two positive point charges again, like the same way we considered in the last lecture. So let's say first point charge is plus Q1 and the second point charge is plus Q2. So let us consider two positive point charges which are placed in vacuum. Let's consider they are placed in vacuum and they are at a distance of r, okay, from each other. So now since both are positive, they are definitely going to repel each other, okay. So now let us mark the displacement vector between two. Displacement vector is the vector which represent how far one point charge is from the other point charge, how much distance apart they are kept, okay. So now if I want to write a displacement vector r2 or r12, okay, so how do I represent a unit vector, unit displacement vector? It is going to be in the direction from 1 to 2. When I write it as r12, okay, it is going from 1 to 2. So the direction of this unit vector r12 is going to be from 1 to 2. Okay, if I want to write a unit vector r21, okay, unit vector we represent it with a cap, if you remember from your 11th standard, right? So this is a unit vector r21, a displacement vector which will be pointing from 2 to 1. Okay, the number which you write will be the which you write first will be the first point, and the number which you write second will be the final point. Okay, so it will go from 2 to 1. So the direction of this displacement vector is going to be from 2 to 1. Okay, so this is how we represent the unit vector. Fine. Next, let us mark the vectors which are the force vectors. Okay, so now let us represent the force acting on charge 1 due to charge 2. Okay, so now see this carefully. The force which is acting on charge 1 due to 2 will be said to be F12. Okay, that is the force on charge 1 due to charge 2. Okay, and what is the direction? Since both are positive, this charge is going to push this charge away, correct? So it is going to move in this direction. So F12 is going to be in this direction. And since it is a vector, we will represent it as a vector, okay, with the arrow on its head. Next, the force acting on charge 2 due to 1 will be represented how? F21, that is the force on 2 due to 1. Okay, force on 2 due to 1. So it is represented as a vector, that is with the arrow on its head, and the direction is going to be, since both are positive, this charge will try to push it away, so it is going to go on the other side. So if you see here, F12 and R12, okay, are in opposite direction. F12 and R21 are in the same direction. Similarly on this side, F21 and R12 are in the same direction, and F21 and R21 are in the opposite direction. Okay, so this is the logic we are going to use when we write the formula. Fine. Okay, so now let us write down the statement for the Coulomb's law in the vector form. So now we know, for your simplification, I'll write here F21 is nothing but the force on charge Q2 due to Q1. Okay, that is the force on charge Q2 due to Q1. So what will be the formula for this? The formula is going to be 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught. We know the formula for Coulomb's law, Q1 Q2 upon R square, right? This is the formula in magnitude. But since we have this vector on the left hand side, obviously we are going to have a vector on the right hand side which will denote the direction of this force. Okay, so now the displacement vector which we have is r over here, correct? So we'll have to put a unit vector on this side which will be in the same direction as F21. So which is the unit vector which is in the same direction as F21? See here, F21 is in this direction, and the unit vector in the same direction is R12. So what I'll do is I'll put R12 cap over here. So basically R12 and F12 are in the same direction. That is, R12 is representing the direction of F21. Okay. Okay. So what is R12? R12 is going to be equal to R12 vector divided by the magnitude R. How do I get this? If you remember your 11th standard basic, any vector can be represented as its magnitude times its direction, correct? Which is represented by a unit vector, which just gives its direction, correct? So unit vector from here will be what? The vector divided by its magnitude. The same thing I've written over here. The unit vector of R is equal to the vector, okay, R21, okay, divided by its magnitude, okay. So it's the same thing. So similarly, can you write down the formula for F12 now? So F12 will be how much? F12, first let's write down what is it. It is nothing but the force on charge Q1 due to Q2, correct? So what is going to be the formula? The magnitude part is going to remain same, that is 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 upon R square. But now we have F12 over here, and what is in the direction of F12 here? F12, F21, these two are in the same direction. So what will come over here? F21 cap, okay, which simply means that the force is in the direction of R21, okay. So similarly here R21 is what? R21 will be R21 vector divided by its magnitude, that is nothing but R, correct? The magnitude of R12 and R21 is one and the same thing, correct? R12 same as R21. The magnitude is same. The distance from here to here and the distance from here to here is one and the same thing. So the magnitudes are same, but the directions are different. So that is basically R12 is equal to minus of R21. When you write the two vectors, their magnitudes is same, but their direction is different. So we put it as a negative, correct? So represent the opposite direction. Okay. So this is your Coulomb's law in a vector form. So this is the statement for first force. This is the statement for the second force. Now if in the second case the two charges were equal and opposite, let's say one charge was plus Q1 and the second charge was minus Q2. So what will happen in this case? The rest of the things will remain same. The distance between them is R. This vector is going to be R12, which is in this direction from 1 to 2. This displacement vector direction is going to be R21 from 2 to 1. This is going to remain same, but in this case the force is going to be attractive force. That is, it is going to pull each other towards each other, right? So the force on 1 because of 2 is going to be an attractive one. So F12 will be this way, and force on Q2 due to Q1 will again be a pulling force, correct? Attractive force. So the direction is going to be this way. So F21 will be in this direction. This is the only difference, okay? So now in this case also the forces, if you see, if you want to equate the two forces, how will you write in the vector form? It is going to be F12 is equal to F21 with a negative sign. Why? Because they are opposite and equal, because I said the charges are equal, okay? So they are equal and opposite, okay? What does this mean? That this means that the two charges exert equal and opposite forces on each other. So the Coulomb's force in this case, we can say, obeys the Newton's third law of motion also, right? So this is the statement we can make, okay? Yes. Another thing you have to remember here is this law is only valid when the point charges are at rest with respect to each other. Once these charges start moving, okay, you directly enter into electrodynamics, okay? So this law won't be valid any longer if this charge starts moving, okay? Whenever it is stationary, this law will be valid, okay? Now in the next case, you have to note that supposing these 2 point charges are placed in some other medium, then vacuum. Okay, now we have considered all the cases here, all this Coulomb's law in the vector form and the rest of the things when the two charges were placed in vacuum. Now supposing these two charges are placed in certain medium, okay, in that case the Coulomb's force will be how much? So in that case the Coulomb force is given by, let's write down it as, let's represent it as F medium, okay, I'll put MED, medium, okay. So in that case it is given by 1 upon 4 pi small k epsilon naught, okay, Q1 Q2 upon R square, okay, wherein this k epsilon naught can also be written as 1 upon 4 pi epsilon Q1 Q2 upon R square, okay. So k epsilon naught can be also written as epsilon, where this epsilon will be called as the absolute permittivity, or it is also called as the permittivity of intervening medium. Okay, it is called as the permittivity of intervening medium. Okay, this k is also called as ER. Okay, it can be also represented, this can be also represented as 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught. In place of k you can also put ER. Okay, in place of k you can put ER, epsilon naught, epsilon R. Okay, yes, where this ER is called as the ER or k is called as the dielectric constant. It's not confusing at all, okay, just understand this. So when these charges are placed in a medium other than vacuum, okay, it is placed in water, let's say, or it's placed in some metal, okay, so in that case what will be the formula? 1 upon 4 pi k epsilon naught. This is additional, only k is additional here, okay, epsilon naught Q1 Q2 upon R square. This k can also be written as ER, okay, or epsilon R, okay, or k epsilon together, or epsilon naught epsilon R together can be written as epsilon, okay, a single epsilon without any suffix here, okay, Q1 Q2 upon R square, where this epsilon is called absolute permittivity or permittivity of intervening medium, and this epsilon R or k is called as the dielectric constant. So what is the relation between them? Epsilon naught epsilon R is nothing but epsilon, correct? So epsilon R is equal to epsilon upon epsilon naught, okay, which is also equal to R, because I told you epsilon R and k is one and the same thing, okay. So k can be written as epsilon upon epsilon naught, okay, which can also be written as F vacuum upon F medium. How this is possible? F vacuum upon F medium. If you see, F vacuum formula is what? 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 upon R square. What is F medium? Just now I told you 1 upon 4 pi k epsilon naught Q1 Q2 upon R square, correct? So 1 upon 4 pi will get cancelled, epsilon naught epsilon will get cancelled, Q1 Q2 upon R square, and this will get cancelled, so it will remain as 1 upon k, which will go on top, which is equal to k. If you see, you'll get back the same thing, okay. So this is how you get this formula, okay. So F vacuum upon F medium is equal to the dielectric constant, okay, dielectric constant, that you have to remember, fine. So this is important from your entrance exam point of view, fine. Now this dielectric constant, that is k or epsilon R, is a dimensionless quantity, okay. It does not have a dimension, it does not have any unit, okay. It is unitless and dimensionless quantity, and it takes different values depending upon the medium. So k for vacuum is 1, as we know, we just put epsilon, k becomes 1 in that case. K for air is almost close to 1, that is 1.00054, approximately 1. K for water is 80, K for any conductor is infinity, okay, and K for mica is 6.7, okay. So now what will be the relation between this value of K and the force of attraction or repulsion, okay. So if you see from this expression here, or let's write it again. So F medium is given by 1 upon 4 pi k epsilon naught Q1 Q2 upon R square, right? So what will be the relation between the force of attraction or repulsion and k here? They are inversely proportional. That is basically, if the value of k increases, the value of force will decrease, okay, in a medium, fine. And if the value of K decreases, the value of force in the medium will automatically increase. So this is the relation between them, okay. So yeah, so that's it for today. So in the next class we are going to learn something called as principle of superposition, okay. Till then, study well, okay, and I'll see you in the next class. Thank you.